I still remember the day it all started. The day I thought I was about to walk into a nightmare I couldn't escape from. I was dragged literally onto a ranch I didn't know existed, surrounded by endless fields, horses I'd never ridden, and a man I assumed was nothing short of a villain. You see, I didn't know him, and from the way his eyes looked at me that first time, I convinced myself he had some dark plan in mind. Was I wrong for judging him instantly? Tell me if you would have done the same thing. I mean, who wouldn't be terrified if a complete stranger took you somewhere against your will, no matter how nice it seemed at first? That's exactly where I found myself, confused, scared, and angry all at once. It all started when I was traveling alone through the outskirts of Arizona. I had been hiking and exploring, trying to connect with my roots as an Apache woman, and I never expected that the curiosity to explore would land me in such a situation. I had taken a wrong turn, or maybe fate had decided to step in, and suddenly I was face to face with a man in his 50s, tall, rugged, and dressed like he'd stepped right out of an old Western movie. He introduced himself as Tom, the rancher, and before I could even ask what was going on, he said he could give me a ride back to the main road. I hesitated, my instincts screaming that something was off, but I had no other choice if I wanted to get out of there safely. That hesitation must have shown on my face, because next thing I knew, I was in the back of his pickup, headed somewhere unknown. At first, everything felt like a nightmare. He drove in silence, and the ranch grew closer and closer until I could see the fences, the horses grazing, and the barns lined up against the horizon. My mind ran wild. Was I going to be locked up? Was this some kind of trap? But as soon as we arrived, Tom did something I didn't expect. He didn't lock the gates or restrict my movement. Instead, he offered me food, water, and a place to sit. He treated me with courtesy, something my fear hadn't prepared me for. I wanted to leave, but my pride and stubbornness kept me there, trying to figure him out, trying to see the man behind the ranch. Over the next few hours, I began to notice little things, how he cared for the animals, how he mended fences himself instead of hiring someone, and the way he spoke about the land like it was a living, breathing thing. My initial fear started to clash with curiosity. Days passed, and I realized I couldn't leave just yet, not because he forced me, but because I wanted to understand him. Tom shared stories of his family, how he had inherited the ranch from his father, and how life had been a constant struggle to maintain it. He even showed me a small garden he had cultivated for local communities. The man I thought was dangerous was, in reality, someone who had dedicated his life to helping others quietly, without recognition. And then came the pivotal moment. One afternoon, as I helped him herd cattle, a sudden storm hit and one of the horses got loose. Without thinking, I ran after it, slipping in the mud, and before I knew it, I was trapped in a muddy ditch. Tom didn't hesitate. He jumped in, pulling me out, risking himself to save me. That act shattered all my preconceived notions. Could I have been so wrong about him from the very start? So that's the situation I was in, and I had to make a choice. Before I tell you what happened next, I want you to pause and comment below what you would have done in my shoes. Would you have trusted him after everything? Could you let your guard down when every instinct told you to run? By the time the storm settled, I had made my decision. I stayed, not because I had to, but because I wanted to. Over the next few days, I learned more about Tom's life, the sacrifices, the loneliness, and the quiet heroism that he embodied every single day. One evening, as the sun dipped below the mountains, he handed me a map and said I could leave whenever I wanted, no questions asked. But I didn't leave. Instead, I thanked him not just for saving me in the storm, but for teaching me that appearances can be deceiving, that fear doesn't always tell the truth, and that sometimes people who seem frightening are the ones with the kindest hearts. The ranch, which I thought would be a prison, became a place of unexpected trust and learning. Tom never asked for anything in return. He just offered me safety, guidance, and perspective that I'll carry for the rest of my life. Looking back, I realize how quickly I judged someone based on fear alone. I had been ready to see the worst, and I almost missed discovering the best. The lesson here is simple. Sometimes, people are not what they seem. And the world has a way of surprising you when you least expect it. If you've ever judged someone hastily, remember my story, and maybe give them a chance to show who they really are. Like this video if you were on my side. Subscribe for more stories like this, and share your final thoughts on this whole mess in the comments section. I can't wait to read your reactions. I'll see you all in the next story.